joining us all. As you've heard tonight, we've had several, and I'm sure you've heard it before, all the different groups wanting information and wanting to try to figure out how we can make this work. You just told us earlier that at the Emery County, I'm not sure what it was, the land, whatever it was with the land, when it came together, you had many of the people who I was seeing, similar to us, I'm sure, had different views, come together in some type of, I would hate to use the word compromise, but work together to make time. How are you going to implement that process for us here in San Juan County?
Yeah. It took decades in Emery County. Now, you folks have worked on this for decades, and so hopefully it wouldn't take decades. But I'm looking, first of all, before we even put a process together, to gauge whether or not we have willing stakeholders to solve it. Because I don't want to go through a very long, detailed process if there's just not a willingness to come together. If there's a willingness to come together, that we're sensing, hey, there's an answer in here, and I sure hope there is. I'm with you. It's not in anyone's best interest to let this go. We would put together, I can't define it for you because every location is, every issue is different, but if I'm not successful in the process, the bill will not pass. Does that make sense? So if you're worried that you're a stakeholder and you wouldn't be involved in this, if we fail in our process, the bill won't pass. There are so many things that can kill a bill that unless a bill comes out of the community with some amount of unity, not 100%, but pretty darn close, it'll never survive Washington. Does that make sense? I have a lot of colleagues ready to tear my bill apart, and the only way it survives is if it's coming out with a united voice from the community. That's why it's so critical to bring these very diverse groups together and find answers. And that sometimes we approach these public lands issues from a winner-take-all perspective, right? Unless I get all the mining I want, then I'm not going to agree. Unless I get all the protection I want, then I'm not going to agree. And we're going to have to figure out how to give everybody enough wins that they can support the bill. And if we can't do that, I guarantee you it will fail.
So what are your next steps?
Well, this trip's a big part of it. This trip is, we're going to go back after this trip and say, we think we can do this. I hope that's kind of the consensus. I'm not telling you something you don't know. You guys are a long ways apart, right? I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But I've heard a lot of really positive things on this trip. I really have. We still need to go to the Navajo Reservation tomorrow. We've got to meet with the Ute Mountain Utes, with the Zunis and the Utes, and that's part of this process to see if there's a willingness. I'm telling you, one of my fears is a lot of people are waiting for the lawsuits, and they'd rather not see a bill because they'll wait for the lawsuits, and we've got to ascertain if they're willing to join us in the dialogue. And some people are waiting for another president to come along, to send it back. And if they're just waiting for that and not willing to talk, we don't have the basis to pull this together. I want you to know with all my heart, I can't think of anything that would bring more satisfaction to me and to my team than to be instrumental in finding an answer here.
I've got one here, I've got one there, and I have one for you.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay, Ray, so let's go. It's not necessarily in order, but here, and here, and then yourself, and here, and then we're going to talk about winding down.
Start right
here.
Okay.